Welcome back, guys. This is Mega Obi. We're on episode 2 of my vlog series, and as I promised previously, today guys we want to discuss a topic. So from now on we are doing these awesome important topics mainly for beginners, because we want to also make it easy for people to come into this hobby, right? So for someone that's new to this hobby, I would imagine a majority of people that are coming into this hobby, they've never been on a unicycle. Some people have, I guess, but I would imagine a lot of people, because before I bought my first unicycle, I didn't know how to ride. I did have an advantage because I had a mate that had a unicycle, and he gave me a class, sort of a little lesson that introduced me to the unicycle. So what I want to do is basically I want to reach out to all those people who are on the borderline, who might possibly be like me, who had the doubts, because it feels a little bit funny, you're buying something that you don't know how to ride, right? But it's really easy, guys. Electric unicycles, I believe, are for everyone. Definitely. I believe this sport or hobby is for everyone. I've seen people as young as three-year-olds riding electric unicycles. I've seen 70-plus-year-olds riding electric unicycles. In fact, today I saw on Instagram a man riding, it was like 67, I think, from memory. So hopefully I can find his video, because I want to share that with you. And he was 67-year-old and he's riding a unicycle, and I was like, whoa, damn. So anyone can do it, guys. It's just you need a little bit of determination. You need to be motivated, and you need to be you don't need any previous skills, I believe. If you can walk, I believe you can ride a unicycle. So this video, going back to where to buy, definitely first and foremost, guys, local. Stick to local. Stick within your country. Why? Because you buy something from AliExpress or Alibaba, it's just crazy. Because the prices, I've seen the price, they look very attractive, guys, but there could be hidden costs with your import fees and stamp and duty. Don't forget, there might be, and shipping costs are like crazy expensive. Don't forget, these devices are quite heavy, so that's something to consider. So other than that, if you find a legitimate store and you want to wait and you're not really fussed about warranty, pull the trigger. Because I find, for me, when I'm purchasing something, warranty is the most important thing, because they're not cheap, and suppose something does go wrong, it just sucks. It sucks. Suppose 2 weeks in and you got issues with your motor, or you got issues with your motherboard or your batteries. They're not going to be cheap to replace, guys. So I would say where you buy is very important for that reason. For something else, maybe not so important. For things that are non-electrical, non-mechanical, maybe it's not that important. But for something like this, with the price tag that these things have, I would definitely consider. And I can only recommend actually electric e-uni. So that's www.eunicycle.com.au. So I've bought a few wheels off them, and they've just been fantastic. Every time I can speak to them, I can email them, they're responsive, they'll sort out their problem, whatever problem you have, and they're very friendly and competitive priced. So that is my go-to in Australia for buying wheels. In Melbourne, we don't really have a place that we can. I don't think there's anyone that's selling wheels locally in Melbourne. If there is, drop a comment. Obviously, I'm not aware, but yeah, that could be the case. But yeah, like I said, being in Australia, I would unicycle.com.au, and whatever country you're in, consider your local sellers, guys. And don't forget, it's a real big headache shipping things back and forward, overseas. So that being said, the second thing we wanted to discuss was first hand versus second hand. Second hand is your like second hand Facebook marketplace and whatnot. So there are honest sellers and there are scam sellers. So that's a bit of a hit and miss. It can work for you or against you. So you might pick up a really good deal, legitimate sale, bloke's going overseas, or he's bought his first wheel, he's outgrown it, ready to move on, nice and clean, few dingers, not a problem. That is the sort of pros and cons of the thing, and it's going to be a bit problematic if you don't know. You've got to take his word for his battery, the motor. If something's wrong, you're in big trouble. Just remember, guys, the rim is the motor. So at the very least, if you don't know anything about these devices, inspect the rim. Make sure there's no cracks and no dents on the rim, because a dented rim equals a new motor. Ask me how I know, because I've already snapped the rim on this. It was actually cracked really bad. It cracked down the center, guys, and vertically, like in the center of the rim. Hopefully I can find some photos to share with you. That's probably my biggest complaint about the unicycles. The rims are just piss weak. They should be much, much, much stronger, but obviously everything comes at a cost. And that's the other rant that I have today. People are always wanting bigger, faster, better wheels, and then they're going to be like, oh my god, it is so expensive. Man, what did you expect? It's like saying, I want to swim, but I don't want to get wet. It's like, yeah, so you want all this tech, you want all these features, but you don't want to pay for it. So it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, there are cheap wheels for people who want cheap, entry-level wheels, but obviously at different price range, you get different wheels. And that brings me to the other question. What do you do? Do you buy a small beginner wheel? Because here's the sort of discussion, guys. On one side, you have smaller wheels that are really light and easy to learn on. On the other side, you have big, heavy, expensive wheels. Now, the problem with the little wheels is you get stuck. You outgrow them really fast. Yes, they're really easy to learn on. But on the other hand, if you can manage to learn on a big wheel, you don't have to spend that money that you spend on that little wheel. You could have put that towards your big, better, high performance wheel. So there's not much longevity in the little wheels. When I say little wheels, I mean like V8, I mean like M103, those sort of smaller wheels, lighter wheels. They are fantastic to learn on. Not to say that you can't learn on the bigger wheels, guys. Don't take my thing and, oh my god, Mega Obby said you can't learn on a Sherman. That's not what I'm saying. People have learned on the Sherman. People have learned on the big wheels, MSPs and whatnot. This is a pretty big wheel, I would say, but I don't think it's impossible, but I would I learned on a smaller wheel. I mean, yeah, so so that's the other thing. I would say if you do have a lot of friends or family that's interested, I would consider the little wheel, because you get some more use out of it. And I mean, this all, again, guys, I'm looking at this from my perspective, but obviously everyone's a different rider. You could be a casual, you could be one of those guys that just rides it around the block or around the park, and you're not really into the high performance aspect of things, that might just work for you. I do love the V8F in that sense, you know, that it is so portable. It's like a little briefcase. It's like 14 kilos compared to these other 25, 30, 40 kilo wheels. So you can really just pick it up and carry it and pop it in the boot, and it's fun like that. I like that about it, you know. But yeah, outgrew it really fast. But the good thing is my son learned on it. I'm going to be teaching my daughters on that wheel, so it does really work out good in that sense. So that's my take. That's sort of summarizing on, you know, little wheels. Well, you could always go for something that's a little bit more in between, which is like a King Song 16X. I think they're around $2,000 now, which is really good price point, and they do have longevity. I mean, good range. They've got some decent speeds, so you might be able to use something like that until you're ready to upgrade. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I just want to share this information so it helps you make the right decision. In terms of getting the right wheel for you, there is no perfect wheel, but you really need to decide what kind of riding you want to do, what kind of a rider you are. You know, you have to ask yourself, are you a speed demon, speed junkie, or you need it for commuting? You need something really small, or you need the range. Do you do off-road? You don't do off-road? These are the sort of questions that you need to answer before you decide. And obviously these things could change, because me personally, I was like, nah, I'm not a speed kind of guy. But then you realize very quickly, just because of how safe you feel on these things, within reason, obviously, there are cutouts that you need to learn and know about before you push these things. They're in a constant state of self-balancing. So that's about it for today's video, guys. We're running out of time, so that's the end of the video. I hope you liked the content, and hopefully any feedback, any questions, drop them in the comments. If you can like and subscribe for more content like this, and if you have recommendations for my next video, please drop them in the comments also. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.